Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast. Tonight, we are going to be talking about last week's question to you. What obscure game do you love that nobody's heard of? And here to join me to talk about that, I have Tim, the Nintendo Dad from the Nintendo Dads. Tim, are you ready to talk some obscure games?
Bring it on. I want to hear what these obscure games are that you got.
Alrighty, well, let's go on in here. Let's cue the music for the intro. Well, greetings, fellow Nintendo pals. It's me, it's Andros. And I am here to talk games with my good friend Tim, as I already kind of led through all the intro here. Tim, how have you been, man? It's so good to see you. It's been a long time since you've been on Nintendo Pals.
It feels like a very long time, and it feels like I haven't seen you in years. Well, I guess podcast months equate to like dog years or something like that. I don't know.
We're coming up on a year since the Extra Life event where you and I hung out in person. And we met in person for the first time. So
isn't that crazy?
That feels like that was way longer than a year ago. It really does. But it's good to see you. Good to have your powerful beard back on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
What is your history with weird and obscure Nintendo games?
Well, I like finding cool, unique games to play. Something different to play. So I don't like, yes, I have my favorites like Metroid, and we've talked about that before. But
for a while, that was a weird and obscure one.
Yes, that's very true.
For a good chunk.
But there are those games that I like to try out that especially that are different and unique. Like my last year game that I picked was Inscription for Game of the Year. I thought that was weird and unique because of the way it played out. If you don't know what that game is, I don't want to spoil anything because it has certain things that happen to it, but I feel it could be considered weird and obscure.
Yeah, I really want to try Inscription. I have not yet picked it up, but it's been out on Switch here for a little while. So it's definitely on my wish list. But I didn't know it was your game. I didn't realize it was Game of the Year for you. So that.
Yes, that was my Game of the Year last year.
Extra incentive
for the Nintendo Switch.
Perfect.
Yeah, and but also if we're speaking of Nintendo stuff too, it's Elite Beat Agents is another game, and I've talked to our good friend Seth about that game a lot. And then there's all kinds of good stuff out there. In fact, there's one that's got a remaster, and that's the Ghost Detective. I almost lost it there. The Ghost Detective game.
Yeah. Is it just called? It's Ghost Trick. I was like, that doesn't sound quite right, but yeah, Ghost Trick, which is a detective game.
Yes.
So fair.
Yes.
Sorry, Elite Beat Agents.
Pikachu on the main mind there.
Yeah, there you go. Elite Beat Agents is one that I don't think gets as much love as a lot of games out there. These are kind of a bit more obscure titles. Well,
and one that really doesn't get a lot of love is Steam.
Codename Steam
one. Mm-hmm. Codename Steam. Yes, thanks for finishing the name of the games for me. It's really slipping here, probably because it's the end of the day.
It's all good,
but this happens with old age too, so
oh, I know
Codename Steam.
I'm turning 30 this year, Tim. Actually, in
that's
a couple weeks.
I'm
a new decade.
2 years away from 50, sir. So
Still young.
So
Still young.
yes. So, but yeah, Codename Steam is another one that's obscure and a lot of people didn't like, but I really liked that game. I enjoyed my time with it. Because of the turn-based combat and all that kind of stuff, and grid-based in a way as well. So I think a lot of people who might actually like the Mario Rabbids games, or at least the first one, might like to take a look at Codename Steam one more time.
Yeah.
Because of that style of RPG or turn-based battle. So, but
Well,
I'll shut up now.
we have from the community a list of games that people answered for this question. I asked, like, in honor of Plocktober, because first off, it's Plocktober. Happy Plocktober to you, Tim. As we're celebrating
happy Plocktober to you too.
The whole month of Plock. Plock is a weird, obscure game that our communities have kind of latched onto. You guys got Retro Logic over there with the Nintendo dads, and us and several of our podcasting buddies have all done things for Plocktober. And so, I asked, in honor of Plocktober, what kind of weird, obscure, or different game do you love? And I figured we could talk about some of these answers. So the first one, we got an answer on Spotify from Alabeo, who put FNAF, which is Five Nights at Freddy's. And they gave more details. I got Five Nights at Freddy's the other day, and I'm really enjoying it. I played all day, and I've been trying so long to find a game that will scare or startle me, and it finally did. I mean,
that's a good one to do it.
It is a good one to do it. It is a good one. I have not personally played Five Nights at Freddy's, the original. At last year's Extra Life event, I did Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and I will never, ever play that game ever again. That was terrifying. It was so scary. It's so scary. I got jump scared, and I was like, I'm done. Not touching it. But if you're into games like that, that's when. I think this is an interesting pick, because I wouldn't consider Five Nights at Freddy's really obscure. I think it's wildly popular. Is it not? Am I crazy?
They're making a movie. The movie's coming out on it, so...
Plock isn't getting a movie.
Yes.
Not yet.
If it's getting a movie, maybe not so obscure, unless it was a B movie. And it's not necessarily a B movie, so...
I think it kind of started out as this, like, kind of grassroots indie game that...
Yes.
That... I don't even know if it was really popular when it first launched, but it definitely got huge thanks to these big YouTubers all playing it and streaming their reactions to it.
Yep. I would say obscure, probably definitely that first release.
So there you go. Ayla, thank you so much.
2 words that are a good combination there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that answer. We appreciate that. Our next one comes from Third Strongest Mole. Tim, you are a pal of Third Strongest Mole. He is part of the Nintendo Dad's Family podcast. So I would like to hear what your guess is for his pick on weird game.
What's that one with the big giant ball, pinball type game?
Okay, yeah, you know exactly.
I can't remember the name of it at the moment.
I like Odama so much.
Oh,
this is his answer. I liked Odama so much, I became the world's 3rd fastest Odama speedrunner. True story. And if you go to speedrun.com right now for the game Odama, which is I don't know how to describe this game. It's a pinball game that it
has like pinball mechanics, which is very cool. I liked it when I was watching him. He actually streamed it before, so it was actually cool to see it, because I'd never seen it before, and it was like made me interested in the game. So I kind of wish they would do a remaster of it in a way.
Yeah, it's a GameCube title, and it also I think the unique thing about this game is that it's both a pinball game and a real-time strategy game, where you control warriors while hitting this giant pinball around to try and defeat armies in battle. To control the warriors, you use voice commands. So it has a microphone.
That's right.
That is attached to the controller, and you speak into the microphone for what people should be doing. And that is just so wildly unique.
Yes.
It's very Nintendo. It is very Nintendo, that's for sure.
I want it. I want a remaster on Switch 2.
How would it's going to need to be on the Switch too, because we don't have a microphone on the Switch.
Right? Because the Switch 2 is going to have a microphone and a camera on it. We all know that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Or they could do what they did with Odama. They just sell one that plugs into it. And you just play with it plugged in.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a fantastic title. Anybody that hasn't looked up Odama, well, now you know where to go look it up. It's speedrun.com, the third place runner. You can go watch a run of it there. It's a fantastic GameCube game. We have one more answer from the community. And I'm hoping you know something about this one, because I don't know very much at all about this game. This is from Monkey Thunder.
Google ready.
Okay. Mischief Makers on the Nintendo 64.
I do not. You just said Nintendo 64. We need Dan here for that.
I know Dan loves this game. He's talked about it a bunch. But Monkey Thunder says that he used to watch his dad play it all the time. And
I'm searching it up
I know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dan, I think, played this. This looks familiar.
I know it's weird and obscure because Dan played it.
There you go.
Is this the one that's like one of the only platformers on the Nintendo 64?
It is the first single-player 2D side-scrolling platform game on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, which is weird because the N64 just didn't have, like, they just completely stopped making 2D platformers.
Yeah, because the whole thing with the Nintendo 64 is 3D, so they had to sell it to say you're going to get 3D stuff here. So, and that was the big thing at the time.
Yeah, and it
makes sense.
It wasn't until, like, I guess the Wii that we kind of got back into doing 2D platformer type games. And
or Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah. Continued on handheld for sure. Well, for me, obviously, my top pick for this, since we're done with the community answers, my top pick for this is Plock. It's like a weird, obscure game that nobody has played before that I really enjoy. Another one that I champion for a lot is Photo Dojo on the Nintendo DSi and 3DS.
That's a great pick.
Where you take pictures of yourself in different poses, and it turns it into this like 2D beat 'em up game. That is a very fun and weird little Nintendo project on those. Tim, do you have any answers for this question? Any obscure titles that not too many people champion that you are a big fan of?
Rusty's Real Deal Baseball for
Let's
3DS.
Go. Yes, that is a good pick.
I had to pull it up on there right now to open it up, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get the full name this way. This way you don't have to, fill in the blanks for me. But yeah, that is one obscure one, and even the Street Pass games. I mean, a lot of people like them, but those could be considered obscure because not everybody played them, even though there's a few really good ones on there. Not all of them.
Yeah, I found all of them
for everybody.
I found them to all be very fun. I was a big fan of Find Me and Find Me Too, but there were a ton on there. The puzzle collecting ones, and I don't.
Yes.
Then they added like a whole bunch more later, so a lot of people didn't even see those because that was all added after.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, man, Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. That I think is a pretty deep cut, which is weird because it's not even that old. That's 3DS, right?
Right, yeah. It would be within the last 7 years, something like that.
It was an experiment into, like, kind of, you paid for the individual games in it, but you could, like, haggle for the games as well. And you had...
April 2014.
Oh, I guess it's
2014.
I guess it's been a while.
10 years old next year.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm turning to dust. I'm aging away as we speak. But yeah, that's a good title. A fun one that has a lot of It's an obscure Nintendo. I feel like Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, and Rusty is kind of the poster child for obscure Nintendo
Right.
mascots and
Especially
characters.
since you can't really go back and play it because the shop is closed. It used the eShop,
Yeah.
so that make it kind of hard to go back and play it.
Yeah,
Actually,
for real.
I did download it so that I could try to play it to see what would happen after the eShop closing. So I haven't tried it yet. I'll have to do that sometime, see what happens. Like, can I go and make a deal or something?
Well, Tim, I thank you so much for coming on. I know it was kind of last minute invite for Tim to come on here. Tim, as we close out the episode here, I would like to turn the floor to you to plug yourself, plug your stuff. Where can people find you on the interwebs? And what do you do on the interwebs?
Thanks. So yeah, it's like Andra said, I'm part of the Nintendo Dads. You can find the Nintendo Dads. You just spell it out, all one word, and in any of the social medias, and you'll probably find us there. So, yeah, that's where we do a lot of our stuff for Nintendo games and beyond, I guess, too. So, but we talk about a lot of stuff around families, especially now that we're, like I said, I'm 2 years away from 50, and a lot of us, the dads that are doing this stuff, we have our kids getting older, so we look to you guys who are younger still, back like what we were, to talk about how you guys deal with games nowadays and stuff like that. So it's good to hear you guys talk about that stuff too.
I saw Justin went up for the Nintendo Live event. Justin, one of the Nintendo dads there, and he went with his daughters. And I was like, wait a second. Weren't they like 7 years old or something like that?
Right.
I felt like 10 years just passed by from one image. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what happened? What year is it?
I know, right? They're driving. Like one of them's driving now or something like that.
That's
learning
wild.
To drive, so
that's
crazy.
So wild. Well, I think the hard part of that is that Justin hasn't aged a day in the last like 15 years. He looks exactly the same. So that's he's tricking us with his time travel magic. Well, Tim, thanks so much again for being on here. I'll plug ourselves again here real quick. You can find my content over on Andros1 on Twitch and YouTube, and you can also follow the show, Nintendo Pals, on all platforms. And we're making bunches of stuff, so stay tuned. Join up the Discord if you want to be a part of these discussions. Last week we asked you. Next week's question for last week we asked you. I am asking who should be the next president of Nintendo? All right. Put your ballots in, your nominations in for next Nintendo president. And this can be anybody. This does not have to be exclusive to within Nintendo. Let me know your thoughts.
My vote's for Micah.
Metroid every year. Halt all other game development. Golden Sun is the one exception.
That's number one. Yep.
Well, thanks again, Tim.
Thanks for having me on.
I will close out the episode here, and big thanks and shout out to everybody who's listening. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.